is Michael Edward, creator of How to Crush Your Mental Blocks in 4 Weeks, which is a course that teaches you how to identify and remove those mental blocks that's stopping you from reaching your level of success. Let's talk a bit about how giving and receiving impacts your success. Now, I think we all know, I think it's pretty common that we all know we should give what we can. Doesn't have to be money, could be time, could be kindness, could be anything. But we do know that we have to give, and the other side of the coin is we have to receive. I think I have 7 points here that I'm going to discuss. And I'll just rip over them quickly for you, and then we'll break them down. Number 1 is, why do we have to give? Number 2, and receive. Why do we have to give and receive? Number 2 is give with joy, absolute joy. Okay? Number 3 is give without recrimination. Number 4 is being able to receive. Number 5 is giving is not a balancing scale. Right? It's not a scale that we're trying to balance. And I'll explain that in a bit. Number 6 is give without pressure. Okay? Give freely, in other words. Number 7 is getting back. All right? So let's go down this. And before I start, I want to tell you a story a friend of mine was telling me a couple of days ago. And it kind of prompted me to do this video, actually. He was in an ice cream shop, and there was a father and a daughter. Daughter might have been 12-ish, 12 years of age or so. And he said, "What do you want?" And she said, "Well, I want this." And he says, "Well, as long as it doesn't end up being more than $7 or something like that." And he said, "That's all I got." Well, my buddy stepped up to him and he said, "Sir, I think you dropped this 20. And he looked at him and he said, "No, I don't think so." And he said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you dropped this 20. And he slipped it into his hand. And the guy got it and he smiled. And that smile was a terrific reward for him. Now, he's going to get other rewards. In fact, he already has. He's not aware of it, because I hope he watches this video so he can get a lesson out of this. But it was a generous, kind act. And even the store owners saw what was going on, and when the father and daughter left, you know, like, I saw that was such a sweet thing, you know, and it was a really nice moment for them. And I think that's just a terrific example of giving, and it sort of matches all the points that we're going to get to below. All right. Now, in number 1, why do we give and receive? We have to give and receive because it's sort of like a circle. Okay? If you're willing to give and you're willing to receive, you get more than you give. Okay? I'll touch more on this as we go through the points, but just as an introduction, that's sort of the bottom line. All right? And there's a whole lot of other reasons, like it makes us feel good and so forth. But let's move on to number 2. Give with absolute joy. When you give with absolute joy, that means that you are giving, and there's no thought to anything other than it feels good to give. And as I said earlier, it doesn't have to be money. It certainly can be money, but it could be time. Maybe you're donating time to a food bank or something, or helping animals, or whatever it might be, whatever makes you feel good, do it with absolute joy. Number 3 is give without recrimination. This is a really big one. Another buddy of mine and I were talking a little while ago, and he told me he was walking down the street, saw this guy that was just down on his luck. I mean, his clothes were bad, his shoes were bad, you know, he just got this urge, and he followed through with the urge, and he reached in his pocket, he whipped out a 20, and he handed it to the guy. Didn't really say anything, just handed it to him. And I said to him, I said, "Well, aren't you afraid he's just going to take that $20 and buy himself a bottle or some form of drug or something like that?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Michael, I thought about that." And he says, "You know what? if he has a good time, if it's what he wants to do, who am I to judge? And I thought, that's a brilliant response. And, you know, and just this buddy of mine has never studied anything like this. That was just a natural reaction for him. He's such a sweet man. And that's the kind of giving that you want to do. You want to give without recrimination, without thought of, well, this guy's just going to go and use the money for blah, 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 blah. You know, that's a negative thing. You don't want to go down there. You want to stick with number 2, which is give with absolute joy. Okay? Number 4 is being able to receive. Well, this was a weak point for me, and frankly, it still is to some degree. It's something that I had to work on because I freely give of my time. I freely give of you know, different things, and I've certainly given of money. But for me to receive something as simple as a cup of tea, you know, I'm in a lineup at a coffee shop or something like that, and somebody says, here, let me get that cup of tea for you, you know, and purchase it for me. And I get this immediate kind of jolt of, ooh, you know, like I have to, you know, do something in return, or it just made me feel uncomfortable for the longest time. But then when I realized that if I'm not open to receiving, 2 things happen here. One is that the person who wants to give to me, I'm stopping their ability to give. That's selfish. I cannot do that. You cannot do that. You have to allow people to give. Okay? Because that works in their favor. And the other one is if I'm not willing to receive, then how can I be open to all the benefits of giving? Because that is a major reason why we give. It's not the only reason, but it's a major reason why we give, so that we can receive something that we want, or that will make us feel good, or that will help us in our career. All right? You can receive, you can do an act of kindness, and in response, somewhere down the road, could be tomorrow, could be the next day, somehow this will help you reach your level of success. All right? Because that's what's foremost on your mind, is I need to reach this level of success. So something is going to help you. Maybe it's a little money that helps you sink into your business. Maybe it's advice, whatever. But it comes to you. You have to be open to receive. All right? Number 5 is giving is not a balanced scale. I've seen this too many times where somebody is bitching, you know, does that person have any idea how much I've given them over the years, or how much I've done for them just in the last week or month? It doesn't work that way. When you give with joy. You expect nothing in return from that person, because that person is not where you're going to get you're not going to receive from that person. Not necessarily. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. Right? And when I was talking about my buddy earlier who at the ice cream shop and stuff like this, he's changing a career. Excuse me. He's changing his career, and it's going to take him some time to do so. But along the way, he had to shift his work. And he's now earning more money than he did before. And that is necessary for him. All right? And he hasn't figured that out yet. So I hope you got that now, buddy. But be grateful. It's all working in your favor. And when you give and you expect something equal in return, you're stopping the whole thing from flowing. All right? So you have to allow the universe, your God, whatever higher power you believe in, to help you become what you want to be by forgetting about this balancing act, because all this balancing act is going to do, this balancing of the scale is going to do, is piss you off, frankly, and say, I gave so-and-so to such and such, and they did nothing for me. Yeah, but think about what you did get, and from other avenues, unexpected avenues. What did you get? You see, it came back to you. just didn't come from this person, right? So the balancing act thing is against the joy. It's against the giving of freely, right? You don't want to do that. Number 6 is giving under pressure. Now, what I mean by that is when you give, you have to give with joy, like I mentioned, and not through an obligation, all right? So if you're, I was at work and for the big company, and the big company had a specific charity. I was supposed to donate money to that charity and that charity only because that's what work said I should do. I did once, maybe twice, but I didn't like it. I didn't feel good. It felt like an obligation. It felt like something I was compelled to do. People in some religions have to give up X number of their percent of their income in order to be part of that church. Well, that's forced, man. Some people can get along with that and say, yeah, I'm great with that. I'm supporting so-and-so and so-and-so, and that's just wonderful. I love it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying make sure it's right for you. It's not right for me. I like to give when I want to give, what I want to give, how I want to give it, and for my reasons that I want to give it. All right, that's just my way, but just something that you need to keep into consideration. If you're giving something because you have to, you're not giving with free hand, you're not giving with joy, you're not going to get the reciprocation, right? You're not going to be giving and receiving for your success. Okay? Number 7 is getting back. Now, I've touched on this all the way along, and getting back, some texts and so forth say that when you give, you get back tenfold what you give. I don't know if there's a mathematical equation that suits this, but I do believe certainly that you always get back when you give with a free heart, with an open heart. And getting back comes to us in any form that makes you feel good. All right. For example, if I gave somebody $10 on the street and I really felt good about it, and then let's say I'm driving down the road. I know you don't want me to drive down the road because I can't see, but hey, let's just go with it. If I was driving down the road and something happened, I got a flat tire or something, and I'm struggling trying to get that tire changed, and somebody drops by and says, here, let me help you with that. I'm very good at this. Well, hello, I just got that $10 back in my mind tenfold, because it probably would have cost me over $100 to get somebody to come and tow me or change the tire or whatever. And this person just stopped, is willing to get their hands dirty to help a stranger. I mean, how wonderful is that? Is that beautiful? I think it's lovely. So when you think about all the wonderful, unexpected things that happened, it's an answer to your giving. Giving and receiving is a circle, right? You have to give, you have to allow others to give to you so that you can receive. Right? You have to be open to all of the wondrous beauty that comes from giving and receiving. And this, my friend, will help you reach your level of success. Now, I want you to go out there every day. I want you to enjoy. I want you to love as much as you can. And yes, succeed.